This is Engineer Atilano, and today I will discuss to you a sample problem in trapezoidal combined footing. Okay, and before going to that problem, just a quick recap on the combined footing. So combined footings support more than one column, and this happens when the columns are close together so that the isolated or the individual footing would run into each other. Okay, so for example, this one, if you have two isolated footing and based on the design, the distance between the two footing is so close or they intersect each other, you can proceed into rectangular combined footing, no? And the other thing, so this one, if this is very close or instances wherein this column, this design already, no, intersect. Okay, so we can go to create a rectangular combined footing. Okay, and another thing wherein rectangular footing is used, wherein the combine may not be the same to figure 1. This is figure 1, no? Okay, so there is also another scenario wherein the column is just beside the property line. So in this part, no, what will happen is you assume that they interlap, no? So again, you need to combine it. Okay, but since in your column 1 you cannot extend, so you will just extend in column 2, no, the area. Okay, and the last scenario is wherein the two columns are within the property line, and the assumption is the column load 2 is greater than column load 1, so it is concluded that the footing in column 2 is larger than in column 1. And of course, if that is the case and you are provided with this property line, you cannot extend. So you cannot extend going here since this is already the property line. What you can do is extend going in that direction. That's why the most appropriate section will be the trapezoidal combined footing. Okay, and of course load 2 is greater than load 1. Okay, sir, what if load 1 and load 2 are equal? So if that happens, so it will be a what? Rectangular combined footing. Okay, that will be the scenario. So you have the column, you have the column. Okay, so when this is load 1 is equal to load 2, load 1 and load 2. Okay, but this one, load 2 is greater than load 1, no? So if load 1 is greater than load 2, so it's the reverse of the drawing of this one. It will be like this, right? Okay, so let's try to solve this problem, no? So it is assumed that your problem, I mean the two columns are located within the property line, and we can say that the column 2 has a load greater than column 1. So 535, 425. So there is a difference of 110 kilonewton, which is very big, no? And of course, the other one is you have also 150 kilonewton difference in the live load. So we will design it in such a way that we will create, we will identify the section and the reinforcement both for top and bottom section. So the problem here is design a suitable trapezoidal shape footing. We have FC prime which is 21 megapascal, Fy is 414 megapascal, and the effective soil pressure is already given, no? QE, which means that you will not determine it. Some based on our previous problem, we have QA, which is the allowable, and you need to deduct the pressure coming from the soil and coming from the concrete. But now it's effective. Okay, then use use 20 mm main bars and 16 mm temperature bars with Fy as 275, and we have already the value of D, which is 680 mm. Okay, so actually the procedure here is almost the same with the usual rectangular combined footing, wherein we will determine the resultant P in such a way that this is located at L/2 or at the middle. No, for rectangular footing it will be L/2, but here it will be at the centroid of the trapezoidal footing. Okay, so first we have the service load for P1, so we just add it. 425 and 340, 765. Then you have X1, which is it's half of the size of the column 1. Column 1 is 300 by 300, so you are correct with this one. Then P2 is service load at P2, so we just add 1025. And X2 is this one. This one. Okay, this is the X2. Okay, X2, which is 4.5 minus half of C2/2 minus C2/2, where column is 0.45, 0.4, sorry, 0.4. So 4.x2 will be 4.5 minus 0.4/2, which is 0.2, 4.3. Okay, so correct, 4.3. Then we add the total, which is 1790, and now based on the figure, the area of footing is 1/2 A plus B times L, which L is 4.5, and of course that will be we will use that area in able to to come up with the section or the dimension of A and B. So now your value of PT will be multiplied with the SG, so we are utilizing the Barignom's theorem. Okay, so your XG, or the location of the centroid of the footing, is 2.526 from the left property line. So this XG will be used to determine the area for a while. Okay, so by the way, we have the area of footing, no? So P service over QE, QE is given, so 1790 the total, right, divided by the QE, which will give you 11.1875 square meter, no? So this is the area of trapezoid. So you have here two unknowns, two equations. Okay, so the first equation that we can use is the formula for area of footing is 1/2 A plus B times L. So you have the first equation, A plus B is equal to 4.972, and the second equation that we can use is we utilize the Barignom's theorem, the same with the force, to determine the XG, since we have already the value of XG. So 11.1875, which is the total area multiplied by the centroid, is equal to we get the summation of the product of the area and the centroid. So for area 2, let's consider the area 2. Area 2 is actually, this is equal to L times A, which is 4.5 4.5A, right? That is area 2. And each centroid is located at this is L over 2. That's why 4.5 times A is the area and 4.5 over 2 is the distance or location. Then for the area 1, since you have 2 area, so we multiply by 2. So 1/2 B minus A. Okay, this is B minus A over 2. This is B minus A over 2. So 1/2 B minus A over 2 times 4.5 as the length times 2/3 of 4.5. Okay? So assume that this is the centroid. 2/3 of 4.5. That will give you 2/3 times 4.5 multiplied by 2 because you have area 2, area 1. Then of course, using algebra, you have now the simplified equation 2, which is 0.17a plus 0.33b is equal to 1.3955. We equate this equation 2 to equation 1. So from that, we have A, which is 1.53. So we can say that A is 1.6 and B is 3.439, which is 3.5 meters. Now, based on the design section, you can calculate whether you are above the based on the calculation, whether the new section is above based on the computed one. Since area footing is 11.1875, based on the new dimension of A and B, we should be greater than by 11.1875. So, accordingly, 1/2 times A plus B, B plus L is 11.475, and we are greater than 11.1875 square meters. So, we are safe. Okay? So, after determining the section and comparing to the required, so the required is 11.1875 square meter, and we are above on that based on the calculated one. And we can now proceed with the uniform distributed load to determine the shear and moment. Okay, so first you determine the PU1, the ultimate, it's 1054, PU2 is 1426. Then we add, it's 2480 kilonewton, and we divide by the area, which is 11.475. So you have now already the the ultimate pressure, which is 216.12 kPa. Okay. Then that is the pressure, right? So to determine the distribution load in terms of kilonewton per meter at the column 1, we multiply by the value of A. Okay? To make it a unit of kilonewton meter. So it becomes 345.79 kilonewton per meter. And for the uniform load at column 2, we multiply by the value of B. Okay, this is B. It becomes 756.42 kilonewton meter. So, accordingly, we have now the pressure diagram, omega 1 and omega 2. And of course, it may be difficult for you to draw the diagram. Okay, that's why what I perform here is the shear and moment equation. But still you can determine, you can draw it using that shear and moment equation. So ideally, this will be the figure. This is the shear diagram. And this is the moment diagram. Okay. So, sir, how did you come up with that one? What you can do is you create a shear equation and moment equation, then giving the location of each, no? For example, this is x1, then you can put another x2 here, then x3. So you can put the you can determine the shear and moment. Just prepare the what you call this one, the equation. Then of course you can see the distances, and that's the time. Okay, and also this one, this is the point of inflection. Okay, wherein you get the the first derivative of the moment and equate to 0 to determine the point of inflection. Okay, so what we will do now is to create a certain shear and moment equation, no? So to determine that one, so what procedure I have done is I cut a certain section. Okay, I cut a certain section to create the diagram, the equation, sorry. So this is omega 1, right? This is omega 2. You have pu1, you have pu2. So let's say this is w, right? So this w is actually, what is this w? This w is actually the value of 345.79 plus the value of y. Okay? So actually, when you cut at that section, no, that will be the equivalent of the w. Okay? And to get the value of y, it's a ratio and proportion, no? So y over x is equal to the difference of 756 and the 345 divided by the length, which is the 4.5, no? So this one is actually this one, and this one is actually the total length L, right? The total length L. So y is 91.251x. Therefore your w is 345.79 plus x. W now is 345.79 plus 91.251x. Okay? So now your shear at any point, okay? So we will cut that one. Okay? We will cut that one. So W is the uniform load. Wala, I don't have the figure. Okay. Okay. And of course, you have here PU1, and you have here W, then you have the what is this? This is 345.79. Okay? So when you cut here, cut section, so there will be shear. shear at any point. So summation forces along Y, all upward forces is positive. So negative BU, right, minus PU1, right, plus 345.79 times, we assume that this is located at X distance. Okay, so times X, then plus the 1/2 times W minus 345. It's 91, I think. Yeah, it's value of Y, right? Minus 345.79x, right? Minus BU minus PU1 plus 345.79 times X plus 1/2 of X, right? But W, which is negative BU minus PU1 plus 345.79x plus 1/2 of X times W is, what is W? Sorry, this X should be, it's not here. So it will be, what is W? W is 345.79 plus 91.251 minus the 345.79, I forgot the value of X here, times X is equal to 0. I forgot to put here equal to 0. So now you transpose BU, so it will become positive. Then this 345 cancels out, so this is 345.79x plus 1/2 of 91.251 x squared minus PU1. So that will be the shear at any point. Okay, and PU1 is 1054. So 1/2 times 91.251 is 45. Okay, it's 45. And 345, it's here, the same. Okay, so now you have already the equation, which is your BU is 45.63 x squared plus 345.79 x minus 1054. Okay, what else? How about the moment at any point? So this is already our shear at any point. And this equation will be used to draw the diagram. Okay, but of course, I just draw it directly because I knew already the drawing. Okay, that actually, if you are familiar with the problem, you can draw it directly, but you do not know the value. But the configuration alone, you can imagine it. Okay. Then how about for MU? It's the same procedure. Okay, it's the same procedure. So same as cut section. Okay, it's the same as cut section. But this time, you will take summation moment at this point. Okay? So, wala na akong pagsulatan. So, I will just erase this one for the moment diagram. For the moment equation, I will erase. Where is the eraser? So, the same. Okay? So, your moment here will be this one. Negative. Ayaw mag-drawing. MU. So, it's the same. So, MU, summation moment at, let's say, point O, is 0, and this direction will be positive, no? So, MU plus PU1 times, this is 0.15, right? X minus 0.15, right? Then minus 345.79 times x, okay, times the distance, x over 2, minus 1/2 times x times this one is already this is already 91.251, right? So 1/2 x times 91.251 x times the centroid. What is the centroid? X 1/3 of x is equal to 0. So your MU now will become 345.79 x squared over 2 plus 1/2 x times 91.251 x squared over 3 minus 1054 times x minus 0.15. Okay, and of course you simplify it and this will be the value. So 15.21, diba? So can I solve again? Baka nagkamali ako. Yeah. So we are done with the moment equation at any point. So now we can determine this value of A, B, and C, no? We can determine that one later. Okay? So the next thing to do now is we check the value or we will check the D for the wide beam shear at column 1. Okay? So for column 1, for the wide beam shear, no? So the location of the critical section for the wide beam shear is 0.3 plus D. Sorry. Or it's 0.3, this is 0.3, then located at D. Okay? That's why it's 0.3 plus D. So X is 0.92. So to determine the value of shear, the critical section for shear, so we all knew that this location is 0.3 plus D, which is 0.92. So we will put this 0.92 in our shear equation, which will give us as negative 697.252. Okay, so by the way, this shear is signify only the direction, no? So we can check. So to compare that one, we will do the absolute value. So to compare that one, this is already the actual, and this theta BC is the capacity. Okay, so since PBC, which is 706.04, is greater than 697, we are okay, and the value of D is safe for wide beam shear at column 1. How about check for beam shear at column 2? So the location of this one, no? So what we will do is, we all know that the total length is 4.5, then deduct the value of D and DC2. So it will become 4.5 minus D minus C2, which is 0.4. So the value of X will be 4.5 minus C, this is C2, minus D is 3.48. And again, you can determine the BU by substituting the value of X. By the way, our reference is from the left portion of the property line. That's why your X value is always going from that or coming from that. Okay? So it's 701.95, and of course your value of BC is 1,453 times the 0.75. This is the capacity, and this is the actual. So we are safe. Okay? By the way, what is this value of C, by the way? I forgot to include, no? This value of C is a conversion. Okay, this is a conversion. So originally the section is A, B, and 4.5. This is the same if we will extend this big downward, and we will make it straight at the upper part. So from this section, that's why I put equals here to become like this. Okay, and of course the value of C the value of C is A plus Z. Right? A plus Z. And Z is 0.42 times X. So, C is 0.6 plus 0.422X as the value of C. Okay? The same is true for this one, no? So, 1.6 plus 0.422 times X. X is 0.92. You substitute this one with this one. So, it becomes 1.988. Okay? Because, why we are calculating that value of C? This value of C will become the value of B in the calculation for that one. Okay? Because the formula BC is 1/6 square root of FC prime with times D. Okay? So, the value of with at that section, X section, because we try to determine or we try to create a certain equation, no? So, that value of C is 1.6 plus 0.422, which will become the width B. Okay? This is top view, ah. Okay, sir, we are just a little bit confused. Okay? Okay lang naman. Okay? So, remember, no? When we are designing a shear, for example, a isolated. Okay? When we determine the value of shear, okay, shear, so the formula of PBC is 1/6 square root of FC prime B o DA. Diba? So we have if this is the bar, so this is the D, and this is the value of B. Diba? That is the value of B. Now, we have a trapezoid, and this is the value of B, BO. Okay? And this is the value of A, this is the value of B. How to determine this BO? So, instead of this one, we convert the drawing into like this. This is A, this is B. We are on the top view, on the top view. So, this BO is actually located at X distance. And this BO is actually, in my computation, I put it at a C. Right? Siya yung C C. So, actually, this is the value of C. But we convert into this one so that we can determine easily the value of C. And C is actually A plus Z. Where Z, by using ratio and proportion, it's 0.422x. Okay? We are on the top view, Diba? We are on the top view. So, maybe you are still confused. Consider this combined footing. When we consider the checking for beam shear, the value of PBC is 1/6 square root of C prime BOD. This is BO, and this is the value of D. Okay? In the same manner, if you have the trapezoidal, right? We want to determine this value of BO. Right? And this is the value of D. So, instead of doing that one, we convert the drawing into like that. So, this is the value of C, or this is equal to BO. Okay? So, which is this one, C. C is X plus, C is A plus Z. This is A plus Z, where Z is 0.422X. Okay? I hope you understand that one, no? If you're still confused, we can have the discussion on that. So, we already determined the value of B, and we are safe for the beam shear. Now, check for punching shear at column 1. Check punching at column 1. So, for punching, it's PU1 minus QU times the area. I don't have the drawing. Okay. So, where is that? So QU is we have the value of QU here, right? 216.12. Where is 216.12? Wait. Yeah, the value of the QU is 216.12 kPa. So it is expressed in pressure. So we need to multiply that one. We need to multiply that one with the area, no? With the area. So remember, our area here is this is D over 2. That's why your net area will be the total area, which is, if this is C, it will be C plus D over 2 multiplied by C plus D over 2 plus D over 2 minus the column C times C. Okay? So, yeah, there is a quite lackings here, no? So, this is minus 0.3 times 0.3. Okay, so there is a little bit confusing here. I mean, I just forgot to deduct the value of the area. So, it will be 0.3 plus 0.62 over 2 multiplied by 0.3 plus 0.62 minus 0.3 squared. So, the area is, this area is 0.4712 multiplied by 216.12. Then we deduct the 1054. So it's 952.2. So it's 952.2. Okay, and we check the value of theta BC. So PBC is 1/3 square root of FC prime times BO times D. Okay, but this BO is the perimeter of the punching, right? The same with all the columns that we design. So your BO is actually 2 times C plus D over 2 plus D plus C over 2 plus C over 2, right? So 2 times this side. This is C plus D over 2, 2 times plus D over 2, sorry. D over 2 plus C plus D over 2. So BO is 2140, and of course we substitute. Our PBC is 1520. This is our the capacity, which is we are greater than the actual. Okay, so the value of D is safe for punching at column 1. The same is true for column 2. Okay, so still we need to deduct the value of the column here. Sorry, I forgot, no? Same mistake with combined rectangular. So 1426 minus 216.12 times 0.4 plus 0.62 over 2 times 0.4 plus 0.62 minus 0.4 squared. Why is it error? 216.12, 0.4 plus 0.62. 2 multiplied by 0.4 plus 0.62 minus 0.4 squared times 216.12. Then 1426 minus the answer is 13. So this should be changed into 1304.07 kilonewton. So still the capacity is 17. You are greater than the actual, which is 13. So we are okay. Okay, so we are safe. So the value of D provided based on the given, this one is safe for both the one way, for both for beam shear and for the punching shear. Okay, so what if it did not pass? So we can increase the value of D. Okay, so now we are ready for the reinforcement. So the longitudinal reinforcement, so yeah, we have now the MU2, the MU1, MU2, and you have the Mmax or the maximum. So where is that? So you have here MU1, no? Then you have also MU2. Actually, where is MU1? This is MU1 eh. MU1 yan. Then, sorry guys ha. MU2 is located at MU2 is 4.5 minus 0.4. 4.5 is the whole length minus 0.4. So this is your MU2. And this is the Mmax. Okay? So based on the figure, this is always I'm telling you, based on the moment diagram, all the moments are negative. Right? Which means all the requirement of the bar is top bar only, because it's negative moment. But in the bottom bar, as I mentioned before, we will use the minimum reinforcement. Okay, so that is the additional. So we have already the moment MU1, MU2, and the maximum moment. How did I get the maximum moment? So maximum moment is the point of zero shear, right? So we have the moment shear equation. So we put 0 in the moment equation, in the shear equation, to determine the location of that point. And being said, where's that? So when we let point of zero shear to determine the maximum moment, we have the point of inflection, which is found to be 2.33. And put that 2.33 in the moment equation, you have 1166.69 negative, which means the bar that you will put on that section will be the top bar. Okay? What else? So we are done with MU1, MU2, and the maximum moment. So now, for the transverse reinforcement, okay, so we will determine the bar here, this bar. Okay, the same is true with this one. Okay, ideally, okay, if you already familiarized with the design, so I don't have okay, later. So if you already imagine what you are doing, no? So if this is the the section, no? Wait, make it bigger. If you already imagine what you are doing, since it is negative moment, okay, the bars, the bar requirement is here. This is the bar requirement now. Considering longitudinal section, and this will be what we will put here is minimum only. Okay, in other words, this is the required top bar because of the negative moment. And based on the figure also, it did not mention that we should put the bottom bars. Okay, but for the minimum requirement, we will put here area minimum. Okay, area minimum. So now what we are designing now, we are done with the longitudinal, we are now in the transverse. So if this is the figure, what we are designing now is the bar here in the transverse. So ideally, we need to idealize, we need to isolate certain portion here, but it will be difficult for us to determine the moment. That's why we will convert this L1 L2 X into a rectangle. So L1 plus L2 divided by 2 is simply L, and this is simply X. Okay, and of course, based on the designer's choice, the location of the critical section or the maximum moment is we can have like 0.5 to 0.5D to D. But in my design, I use 0.75D for this section only. That's why it will be C plus 0.75D. Okay, so it will be 0.765 meters. And your L1 is 1.6 minus 0.3 divided by 2. How does happen? This is value of A, right? So to get this L1, A plus L1 plus L1, C. L1 plus C plus L1 is equal to A. So if you want to determine the value of 2, L1 plus C is equal to A. So L1 is A minus C over 2. Okay? So L1 is 1.6 minus 0.3 over 2 is 0.65. How about L2? Okay? We all knew that the value of B is 1.988. Wag na lang B. It should be, let's say, BO. B prime. Okay? What is that B prime? It's 1988. Where did I get that 1988? Where did I get that 1988? So, this L2, where did I get L2, which is 1988? Wait guys, this one. Okay, we use C, we use 1988, which is, we say that this value 1.6 plus 0.422x, so it's 1988. So this is this value of L2, value of L2 is the same, no? It will be L2 plus C plus L2 is equal to the value of C. Okay? So it should be C. C. So your L2 now is C C minus C2 C1. C minus C1, which is for column size, no, divided by 2. So this C is 1988 minus 0.3, which is the column 1, divided by 2. So this is 0.844. So 0.65 plus 0.844 divided by 2 is 0.747. Okay? So now, we already convert that one. We can now determine the value of MU. So MU will be QU times L over 2. Okay? MU times X, right? This is not multiply, this is X times L over 2. Okay, kasi QU is 216.12 kilonewton in pressure eh. So times X, this X, so QU multiply by X, right, times L over 2, because that is the moment we are computing here, located at L over 2. So MU1 is 46.12, and you just follow the same procedure with column 2. You will have 194.36 kilonewton meter. Okay, so from that, ABC, so ABC is actually ABC, okay, and D is actually for MU1 at transverse direction. No, this is actually D, okay, and our E is this one. Okay, so from that, we calculate the value of A, and we calculate with the value of area is minimum, right? So accordingly, most of the area are all minimum. Right? It's all minimum, oh. So for ABC, which is the top bar, so it's 18, 26, 24. Why is it like that? Because it is trapezoid. As you go at the column 2 has a higher value of load, so it's assumed that it requires more reinforcement. Okay? And for the MU1, it's 8, and MU2 is 9. Okay? So what we have here is 18. Location is at the top, at the longitudinal, top at longitudinal. 8 is at the bottom at transverse. 9 is at bottom at transverse. So if we will draw the top bar only, so if we will draw the top portion, no, what we compute is at the M1, or simply the requirement located at this one. This is, I think, 1, right? Or we can say this is our A. It's 18 pieces, right? Then for this one, this is our B. It's 26. And at the last one is, the requirement is all the bars here. The requirement is C, which it needs 34. That's why you have additional 8 here. What happened? Meaning meaning 34 minus 18 is 16 divided by 2 is 8 pieces. So somewhere at point C, no, so somewhere here, no, you have additional of 8 pieces. Here also is 8 pieces. Then you have also the shrinkage bar. Okay, so the shrinkage bar is, I compute this one, yeah, 0.002 BH for every 1 meter. So you divide by the area of 16 mm, 7 divided by 1000, 1000 divided by the number of bars, 140 mm. So it requires a temperature bars of 16 mm. So if we will check the the side view for long direction, it needs here 18, 26 and 34 pieces. Okay? And at the bottom, it's 8 pieces in the transverse direction, and it's 9 pieces at the transverse direction located at the column 2. So the top view, it's like this. So this will be 8 pieces, and this one is 9 pieces. Sir, how about the bars here? We will check both the area minimum or the area shrinkage plus temperature bar. Whichever the larger we will use. Okay? We will use. Okay? So now, for the structural drawing, okay, so you have 18 pieces at the near end of column 1. Then you have 26 pieces at the middle. Then you have 30 pieces at the end, located at column 2. Then you have temperature bars, which is you can provide 16 mm at 140 mm on center. Then since we are not required to put bottom bars, but we utilize 18 pieces because this is the minimum area, right? 18 pieces, 18, 26 and 34, so 18 pieces, right? Then you have transverse 8 pieces. Then you have also 9 pieces. Then I mentioned that at the middle of the bottom bars, whichever the larger. So let's check. The temperature is 1390, right? 1390. And for the minimum area at point DE is 2414. Therefore, we will use 2414, which is equivalent to 8 pieces. That's why this one will become additional 8 pieces of 20 mm. 20 mm ba? Yeah, 20 mm. So, you have 8 pieces of 20 mm. So, considering the top of combined footing, you have 18 pieces. You have 26 pieces at the middle. You have 34 pieces at the end. Then you have a 16 mm space at 140 mm on center for the temperature bar. Then for the bottom of combined footing, the code require us to use 8 pieces at the at point or located at D or transverse direction. Then 9, then we provide 8 pieces for 20 mm. And of course, the bottom bar for the bottom of combined footing is 18 pieces. So our structural drawing will be this one. Okay? So you have 18 pieces at top, 26 pieces at the middle, 34 pieces at the end. Then temperature bar of 16 mm at 140 mm on center. Then 8 pieces at transverse direction, 9 pieces at the transverse direction at column 2, and at the middle of 8 pieces of 20 mm. Okay? So that ends the design of combined footing, and I hope you understand. And of course, if you have some question, we will discuss later on the next meeting. Okay? So thank you very much, and see you on the next meeting, which is Tuesday.